Today's sutta is called Thinamiddha Tissa Sutta, the discourse on Tissa, on sloth-and-torpor, S22.84. The theme is drowsiness can be overcome by insight or wisdom. This is one of those suttas. This is a standard sutta, if you like, you can put it that way. The Buddha teaches his cousin, he's quite an elderly person, how to overcome sloth and torpor, this drowsiness. Now, this sutta is important because it reminds us of the nature of a sutta. Very often, we hear of talks being given about suttas. Even sutta study, they're not exactly correct terms. The proper term, I suppose, would be sutta practice. Sutta practice. So when you read a sutta, you are not really studying it. Of course, you can study it if you want. It is a process by itself. In other words, you got to understand the sutta first. That's a study part, or at least know how the words are used, basically. And then if you like the sutta, you have a connection with the sutta, you use it again, like puja, like doing a recitation. But this time, when you look at the words, it's like reading music. You're playing music. You're not just reading music, you're playing it. So in a sense, it's like you're playing a sutta, like a musical piece. You reflect on it. That's the nature of the sutta. In fact, if you look at the sutta, especially, for example, this sutta, it's very different from most other religious texts. The religious texts, they tell you so many things. So believe in this, believe in that, and so on. But here they tell you, okay, this is what your mind is like. Let it go. So these are instructions to the traveler of samsara. This is the Buddha's living instruction to us even today. If you lose this sutta, you lose the Dhamma. This is the Buddha's own instruction coming down to us right from the Buddha's time to this day. And if you follow the sutta without cutting it short, as it is, with all the repetition is the secret to awakening in the suttas. So you go step by step, listen to it. And when you understand it, when you see the meaning of it, the repetition are very joyful. They are like, imagine them to be like your daily or regular exercises. You go through the same routines and you do it mindfully, you do it slowly. Your instructor will tell you, don't rush it, don't jerk it, do it slowly, mindfully. And you go through this and then you feel the sweat, you feel the body firing in a good way, and that's the way the body is growing. And you see you become more healthy, stronger, and you have a better looking body. That is the bodily exercise. A mental exercise, you go on looking at this wonderful truth, and it's being told to you, you're reminded by the Buddha. These are the way to reality. This is the way to see everything around you. And as you do that, you feel this joy and peace because you're given this instruction by this fully awakened arahat. No ordinary person, not some fictitious invented figure, some religious holy figure. It is a real human person who has gone through it all and who is telling us this is how you do it. Many people have forgotten this. Maybe they're too clever. They replace the Buddha's teaching. They edict the Buddha, they revise the Buddha, they change the Buddha's teaching until there's no more awakening. This is a very dangerous thing to do. But here we are. We have these original teachings. Maybe there are some mistakes here and there because of the wording, but it's not because of the Buddha's teaching. This is how it was transmitted. But through your practice, you can go through, you can notice all these small errors, but you don't worry about them because they don't trouble you. You are getting the right message coming through. It's like you listen to this transmission from a great distance. You don't get 100% of the sounds. A word here, there, and there may be missing, but the message comes through from 2,500 years ago. So this is that kind of sutta, right? So every week we try to do this kind of sutta. Now today's sutta is special in the sense that it is rare we have this sutta. It focuses on only one of the 5 hindrances, only on, I think it's the third one, the sloth-and-torpor. Okay, so this Tissa is an elderly person, is a Buddha's cousin, so he became a monk quite late. One version says that he was already quite fat, so he gets himself into a lot of tiredness and sleepiness. But another version, I think the commentaries say that he became a monk, but he led an easy life and became fat as a result. And then that's when the troubles started coming in, and he got into trouble, he became lazy, and he lost interest in the training. And that's when the Buddha helps him with this sutta here. So Tissa, he's also called Fat Tissa, Tula Tissa, okay, with the Buddha's cousin. Okay, let's look at the sutta here. Further down, Thinamiddha Sutta. Right, here we are. The discourse to Tissa on sloth-and-torpor S 22.84, originating in Savatthi. Now at that time, the Venerable Tissa, the Venerable One, the Blessed One's paternal cousin on the father's side, told a number of monks thus, Awuso. Now Awuso is plural here, okay, so I'm using the anglicized version of the Pali Awuso. So you can say Awusos if you like. My body is as if drugged or drunk. I'm disoriented and things are unclear to me. Now this sentence is quite famous. When news of the Buddha is going to pass away, comes to Ananda, he was kind of in a shock. And this is the sentence that he uses. He says things are unclear to him because he's so worried about the Buddha. Well, he's just a stream winner, so you can imagine it's not in Arhat yet, so he kind of worries about the Buddha, about missing the Buddha, and he's feeling sad and so on. Here, in the case of Tissa, it is sloth-and-torpor. Sloth-and-torpor persists in taking over my mind. I do not delight in living the holy life. I have doubts regarding the teachings. So he's kind of, feeling very tired, unable to sit upright to meditate, feeling uncomfortable, feeling too warm because of the robes, the weather maybe. So he's not too happy. Now, this is the interesting thing. You find it is people who go through suffering, but people who do not give up because of the suffering, they will see the truth. Because suffering is the first noble truth. When suffering comes to us, the first truth has come to us. And then we look deeper and say, okay, why is there this suffering? Then you begin to see, oh, I want this, I want that. Right? So now you have a better idea that 2 aspects. This is the meaning of life. Everyone goes through this. Everyone who's not awakened goes through this. And then the next pair, the last pair, the purpose of the holy life, the purpose of being a Buddhist, the purpose of living. You see the way out. Here I put the 4th truth as number 3 in the practice model. So you reflect, how do I overcome this suffering? Well, first, I got to understand my body, respect my body. Don't get carried away by it. Right? This sutta is going to go into detail about this. And when the mind is at peace, when the body is at peace, when the body is disciplined, the body is cultivated by the precepts, by moral virtue, then the mind is easier to cultivate. The mind focuses better. Then that is right concentration, and then comes this ability to see true reality. And when you do that, when you're able to do that, you will reach the first stage, at least first stage of the path, and then you begin to handle suffering better. Right? So that's a kind of short answer to awakening. All right, so here Tissa is suffering and doesn't know how to deal with it. He wants to run away from it. He thinks that being a monk is the cause of the suffering. So it's a wrong idea here. Now, he's living in a community of monks. So in a sense, he's safe. These monks listen to him and they will tell the Buddha. Okay, so this is what happens next. Paragraph 3 or verse 3. Then a number of monks approached the Blessed One, saluted him, and sat down at one side. You notice every time these monks, they come before the Buddha, they will bow to him first, and then they sit at one side, and then say whatever they need to say. There is this respect for the Buddha. We see this being reenacted today, maybe not so much in Singapore, because Singapore is a very secular state, secular city. But if you are in Myanmar, in Sri Lanka, India, Thailand, Laos, Khmer, you find people always putting their palms together, saying savadi or saying some proper way of greeting. This also is reminiscent of their Buddhistness, of the training they got from thousands of years ago. They are bowing to the goodness in others. They are reminding the other person that they can awaken. They also can become like the Buddha. So it's not just respecting people, it is also reminding others, reminding ourselves that we can awaken like the Buddha. So we put our palms together, we bow to each other, and then you put your palms together in return. It is this kind of attitude that when people put their palms to me or bow to me, I feel humble in that sense. I say, oh, okay, they're reminding me that I should work hard for my awakening, to train myself. So I also put my palms together and reciprocate, remind them they too should have that mindfulness, that practice. So this idea of putting our palms together, of respecting each other, is respecting our ability to awaken. All right, so these people come to see these monks come to see the Buddha. And then 4, sitting thus at one side, those monks said this to the Blessed One, Bhante, the Venerable Tissa, the Blessed One's paternal cousin, told a number of monks thus, and then the same message is given. And the monks report to the Buddha, well, Tissa says that he is very drowsy, he's very sleepy, he's not able to focus, and he has doubts in the teaching. All right, so let's see, what's the Buddha's response to this? Further down, please. Right, so then number 5, then the Blessed One addressed a certain monk. Come now, Bhikshu, address the monk Tissa in my name with these words. Thus, Avuso Tissa, the teacher, summons you. Yes, Bhante. So this young monk goes to look for Tissa to bring him before the Buddha. So here we see a bit of introduction, how Tissa is brought to the Buddha. Sometimes we are also brought to the Buddha, or rather we are brought to the Dhamma. Someone invites us to come and attend a sutta practice or sutta study, or we ourselves want to do that. And here we are. All right, so Tissa approaches the Buddha, salutes the Buddha, right? So now the teaching begins. Tissa is questioned. Let's push this paragraph up a bit more. Page, yes. Right. So here you see the Buddha doesn't assume things, The Buddha doesn't even say, oh, I heard that you are like this. No, the Buddha asked Tissa, is it true, Tissa, that you said these words? You told the monks that you are drowsy and, and so on and so forth, right? And then Tissa says, yes, Bhante. All right, so now the problem is established. The problem has been established. It's clear we are talking about the same thing. We're on the same page. And the instruction begins, the teaching begins with number 9. Again here, the Buddha begins by asking Tissa, what do you think? Now this phrase, what do you think, is very significant. In other words, the Buddha is not putting anything, the Buddha doesn't have to put anything into Tissa. He already has those good qualities. What do you think? You only need to think rightly, think wisely. And the answer is there, right? So whatever Dharma the Buddha is teaching, in a sense, we know it. We've been hearing these things over so many times, so many years. It's just that somehow we're not doing it right. It's like the exercise. You know the exercise, but you're not doing it enough of it. You're not doing it properly. You're not doing it the proper sets, and so on and so forth, right? So here the Buddha begins. Let's push up the page a bit more, please. Yes, look at number 9. So the Buddha begins. He's going to talk about the 5 aggregates. Very familiar topic, right? Because we're talking about awakening here. So the Buddha is not going to introduce new things every time. It's going to use the same framework, and it's going to kind of present it a little different each time. So here, to Tissa, the Buddha is presenting it slightly differently. What do you think, Tissa? For one who is not rid of lust, not rid of desire, not rid of love, not rid of thirst, not rid of fever, not rid of craving for form, when there is change of that form, when it becomes something else, would sorrow, lamentation, physical pain, mental pain, and despair arise in him? Yes, Bhante. This is an obvious fact. When we have desire, for form, then suffering arises. What does this mean? Let us look at desire in a psychological way, in a psychological, Buddhistic psychological way. Desire here refers to this idea we have that we lack something. First of all, we take one more step back. We look outside, we make something of nothing. There's nothing there, but we think it's something we want. Now, when you go supermarket, you find the shelves are stacked with thousands and thousands of nothings. You don't need those things. You won't be buying them. They're nothing. So the store is to advertise, draw your attention, make you want those things by telling you the wonderful qualities they have, offering discounts and this and that, by making you want those things. But you don't need those things, unless there is a real need for it, of course, right? But in this case, there is no need. We create this, something that we think is great, we want this. Fame, power, pleasure, whatever, right? So when we are not able to overcome this or not able to control this with regard to form, then we're not going to get it. So when we don't get it, we suffer. And when we do get it, we also suffer. Why? Because once we get it, we say, oh, is that all? Is that it? You know, this is not what I expect. I thought it would be better. Notice after you have bought something, you bring it back and say, oh, I should have bought something else, you know. Right, so we are never satisfied. When you don't get it, there is this expectation. So that's the nature of desire. So you got to accept it. Once you get it, you will change, you will spoil, then you get a new one. Of course, some people have they take the easy way out. No, it's good. Don't think about it. Just throw it out. Don't worry about it. And then you pollute the environment. So you have another problem there. You know, you keep on buying, throwing things, buying and throwing things. And it's not very helpful. So in a way, recycling is a duty that we should do also by not polluting the environment, right? So this all have to do with form, with here meaning things that we see, hear, smell, taste, touch, right? So something, including physical things. So here the Buddha asks this, do you understand this? When you still have lust for form, for physical things, for what you sense, there is suffering. When these things change, here change is described in a few stages. Yeah? You have a change, the word change by itself, and then becoming other, becoming something else, becoming other, right? And then, of course, breaking up, all right? Then we feel unhappy because of that. That is impermanence. So we have to accept this. We have to understand this, live with this, and in a sense, smile at it, say, well, that's the way things are. And so you feel you have used this object which you bought very well. So now the time is up. Okay. In fact, the word to die in Pali means our time is up. That's one way. No? We have done our time. Kalang karoti. Okay. Okay. So here is the first teaching. So now the good thing is, Tissa understands all this. So it says, yes, of course, we will suffer mentally, physically, when we do not know how to let go of form. So it says, yes, Bhante. So the Buddha praises him, says, good, good, Tissa. So it is, Tissa, right? So here the Buddha only needs to affirm the wisdom in Tissa. For one, not rid of lust, not rid of desire, not rid of love, not rid of thirst, not rid of fever, not rid of craving for form. When there is change of that form, when it becomes something else or something other, sorrow, lamentation, physical pain, mental pain, and despair would arise in him. So this is when we do suffer, when we do feel sad, take that as your lesson and say, okay, this is sadness. Why am I sad? And then you trace back, okay? This is how we become a good Buddhist, by accepting our suffering, by taking it as a lesson. And suffering can come in so many ways, right? Number one, through shopping. You buy things. First of all, you cannot get it. When you got it, also comes suffering. Then you reflect on it. Okay, this is what it is. There's nothing to hate here. It's just learning. You watch some shows, and then your hero dies or seem to die or seem to suffer, and you feel very unhappy. Why? Examine yourself. You hear about relatives, they go through suffering also, and you feel unhappy. Or you notice certain relatives are not very kind, then you feel unhappy. Tell yourself why. Of course, there are good things you can do also, but do not let the suffering go by unnoticed. Notice it, then only let it go. Because then it is a lesson. You don't forget it, because it's going to come again. As long as we live, the suffering will come in various forms. And there are lessons to us, echoes from the reality trying to teach us. So what is this? You ask yourself, what am I learning from this? That's the meaning here. This change that causes the suffering. There's always some kind of change there. So this is number one. Okay. Now let's go down to number two now. Now this is a template. Okay. So you find in the next number two is feeling. Okay? The whole template, you find there are some of this italicized, I mean, it's repetition. So here you have feelings. Feeling can arise in this, right? Certain feelings arise. You feel very happy, and then just like you watch a good show, at the end of the show, you may feel quite sad because the show has ended, for example. Or you have this nice meeting with people you really care for, and they go away. The feeling is gone, you feel sad. So that's the time to reflect on feeling in the same way. When feeling comes, there is this potential for suffering. So here again is the learning process. It doesn't mean you stop feeling. You can't give up feeling. You will meet people, just be present. That's all we can do. Be present, allow the feelings to arise and pass away. Smile at it, and then move on. That way, we have at least temporarily got rid of the last. Okay, and then the third one is perception, how we recall things, how things from the past come to mind, and then we see it in the present. The same way, tell yourself, oh, this is mind-made, you're impermanent. As long as I do not desire, I will not suffer. I just let them come and let them go, because they're all guests in my life. They are guests coming to this mind, coming to this house or home called the mind, and I'm letting this go. So this is perception. Same, the whole thing is a template here, and the whole thing, just everything repeats itself. Only one word changes, perception. The next one, 13. Let's go down to 13. You have formations. Formations are a bit more tricky. This is our intentions, our karma, right? We intend something good, but then things may not turn out so well. Or we have good intentions, but it's not enough. Or our good intentions are being misunderstood, and we feel sad about it. Or on the other hand, we may have bad intentions. It just comes, right? We may say, oh, I don't want to have any bad intention, but it still comes because of the power of the latent tendencies, unconscious tendencies are very strong. They will just come when the time is right? And very often we have no control of it. It just comes. So then we look back, say, what do I do now? Let me correct this, right? Let me apologize. Let me make amends. Let me bring comfort to people I've hurt. So this is how you deal with formation, with intentions. All right. So notice you say, oh yeah, this is interesting. How come I never heard this before? Well, we have, it's just we forget. All right. So that's why we have to come for sutta study, read the suttas, reflect on the suttas, make notes. Above all, the real sutta is out there in our daily life when we meet people, difficult people especially. And then the last one is number 5, consciousness itself, right? You can see this bold print here, consciousness, okay? Because we have consciousness, we have a mind. We are alive, we experience things. So we experience all these ups and downs in life. We begin to notice all kinds of difficulties, and we have to deal with them. They become a part of our life. They are a part of other people's life. That's how we connect with them. And this is a learning process for us. When we do learn, that means awakening. The path is waiting for us. So there you are. I've given a kind of a quick summary of all this teaching. They're really beautiful, as you can see them. especially when you reflect on it. Okay. All right. So at this point, I finished the first set of the 5 aggregates. So I'm going to take a short break. Okay. So in the previous section, the Buddha talks about the situation when there is craving in us. Now in section 16 is the positive side where there is no craving. So here, we have put header, the Buddha's instruction, the one without craving. So here again, let's look at just at the first part. Again, you have the Buddha asking, what do you think, Tissa? Right? So another way of putting it is, you know this, Tissa, just don't forget this. Think of this. For one who is rid of lust, rid of desire, rid of love, rid of thirst, rid of fever, rid of craving for form. Okay. Now, this word love is a broad term. It's not metta. Okay, this is something else, right? These are all negative words. No? So when there is this, when we are caught with this desire for form, meaning we do not need to change. And when the form does change, becoming something else, breaks up, it's no more what we want it to be. Then with sorrow, lamentation, physical pain, mental pain, and despair, we feel really terrible about it, right? Will occur in us, right? But if we don't have this desire, we know the nature of things to change, then there is no suffering. So Tissa agrees with that. He understands that. And the Buddha says, good, Tissa. So it is, Tissa. For one, rid of lust, rid of desire, rid of love, rid of thirst, rid of fever, rid of craving for form. When there is change of that form, when it becomes something else, sorrow, lamentation, physical pain, mental pain, and despair will not arise in him. Same thing with feeling, right? So feelings are such, they change, they come, they go, right? We all have feelings for people in the past. We have feelings for ourselves when we were young. We say, wow, we were so happy when we were young doing this thing, that. Right? The feelings are gone. And well, accept it. That's the way it is. So live now, be happy with the people around you, right? And that way you continue to be happy. And then further down, section 3, go down some more. Yes. So this time, same thing with perception, our memories. I have memories of my relatives. Many loved ones are gone, my brother and so on. So we feel quite sad. We say, oh, all this. If only I had spent time with them, I could still chat with them, but they're gone. You got to accept that. All right. So we just let go of those thoughts. Of course, the idea of rebirth is quite comforting. We meet again, Then formation. This is our own intentions, our karma. Again, here we look at it in a positive way. We do what we can. Don't give up. That's the most important karma. Don't give up good. Right? Give up evil. Don't give up good. And promote peace of mind. Then finally, the nature of consciousness. Understand it. The way our senses work. The way we are conscious. Right? Just be aware of it. Try to understand it. It's the most difficult part of it, but there it is. The Buddha is talking about it. So those are the 5 aggregates. Now the Buddha universalizes them. The Buddha, in the next stage, the Buddha tells Tissa, it's not just true in one person's case. It is true universally, right? So let's look at 19 now. Go down to 19. Right, there you are. The aggregate characteristics formula. So it is sometimes called the totality formula. No, sorry, the totality formula follows this. This is the general characteristics. Now, what do you think, Tissa? So here again, whenever the Buddha says, what do you think? It's a time for us to reflect. Is form permanent or impermanent? Very easy question. Impermanent, Bhante. Right, so here Tissa knows, so it's easy for the Buddha to teach. Is what is impermanent unsatisfactory, that is painful, or satisfactory, pleasurable? Unsatisfactory, Bhante. Whatever is impermanent is unsatisfactory. It can never satisfy us totally. Is what is impermanent unsatisfactory and subject to change, fit to be regarded thus? This is mine, this I am, this is myself. No, Bhante, right? All of the senses, all the sense-based experiences, everything we have, just look around you, everything you have, living and non-living, they're all impermanent. They will come, they will go. So we got to accept them. So we have to learn to appreciate them while they are with us, right? So same thing with perception. Same thing with formations and consciousness. All this change. They come, they go. Accept it. Remember, it's all impermanent. And in that way, we suffer less. I wouldn't say we don't suffer. We suffer less because we still have this very powerful ignorance in the background, right? But we suffer very much less than people who don't know these things. Now we come to the totality formula, the non-self totality formula. It is 20, section 20. This sutta divided up into very nicely into the sets. So 20 is the non-self totality formula. It's called totality because it's global, it's universal. 20 brackets 1. Therefore, Tissa. Notice now the Buddha comes to therefore, because the Buddha has taught all the different earlier simpler stages. Now comes the kind of universal stage. Therefore, Tissa, any kind of form whatsoever. All right, form whatsoever. So here the Buddha is kind of telling us what are the ways of looking at form. How do we classify form? Whether past, future, or present. We know very well it's going to time, right? Internal or external. Whether you experience it yourself through your own senses or it happens to other people, it's the same. All this form is like that. This aggregate is like that. It's impermanent. Gross or subtle, whether it is mental or whether it is you think about it or something sense-based. Inferior or superior, whether it is worldly, inferior, or it is a meditative state like jhana, okay? Far or near. I like this part, see? Near, of course, is where we are. Far, anywhere in the universe. So this makes Buddhism a galactic religion. You can go to any planet, any distant galaxy, you find this truth still apply. This form is impermanent. Matter is impermanent. So now the Buddha tells us, having known all these things earlier, this is the conclusion you must come to. All forms should be seen as they really are with right wisdom thus. This is not mine. This I am not. This is not myself. Now, it's not easy to say, you look at your body and say, this is not my body. But you reflect in this way. When you say, this is my body, a few moments have passed already. This earlier on is different from what you say now. The process has changed. Then again, you look at all those family photos of yourself when you're very young, very cute and handsome and pretty and strong, and look at yourself now, you're very different, right? So we change. We change. We can't say whichever one is ourselves. At the best, we can say right now, this is me. But when you say right now, then now it's gone already. It's passed so fast. So the best way to apply this not self-reflection when it comes to pain. When you feel pain, when you really find this pain troubling, you say, well, I'm letting go of this pain. It's not my pain. It's just pain. That means it's a mental fact, but I'm sorry, it's a bodily fact. It occurs on the body, but mentally you just note it. It doesn't trouble the mind. The pain remains in the body, passes away in the body. It doesn't have to come to the mind level. That's the meaning here. It's disowning the pain. Disowning the pain. This is a very wonderful teaching in counseling. People often suffer because they want to own the pain. They want to own people. They own the pain. You see those love stories, no matter what language, they love someone, there's always suffering following that. Of course, you don't expect them to hate people. Rather, you treat people with respect. In a sense, respect is much greater than love, but we don't think that way. It doesn't strike us when we say that respect is greater than love, but that's the reality. Respect means treating people as they really are. You treat a child with respect. That means you love the child even more. It's a child, so you forgive the child. That's love. You treat the old folk with respect because they're old, they're forgetful, they're messy, and that's what they are. You respect them, and that's more than love. And then you respect yourself. You also make mistakes, and you accept yourself. You say, well, yeah, I do make mistakes sometimes, and you forgive yourself. Isn't it wonderful? That's more than love. Respect is more than love. So that's when you come to feeling, right? You understand the nature of feeling. Respect is more than feeling. Respect is where you take the feeling as it is. So too, you apply this respect to perception, to your memories, to things that come back to you. You say, well, it's in the past, and those are beautiful days, yes. But then if you really go back to those things, you get bored with them again anyway, right? So things happen, the way they happen, let them happen, just be happy. And consciousness, again, then you can't own it. It comes, it goes, right? We forget things, but we can also make an effort to remember them. So those are the 5 aggregates on a universal level. Now we go on to 21. We're coming near the end, 21. So the Buddha says, seeing thus, Tissa, the learned noble disciple is revulsed or disenchanted with form, revulsed with feeling, revulsed with perception, revulsed with formations, revulsed with consciousness. Here, revulsed is a very powerful term, meaning nothing to do with it. It's no more going to be cheated by it. Just take it as it is, live it as it is. And because of this revulsion, because of this fearing the fire, it's not hatred, it's just a kind of healthy fear. You don't hate the fire, you stay away from it. And because of that, there is this passion. There is what should we say? No desire for it in a sense. And because of that, you are free. And when you're free, you say, free am I. This arahat says, free am I. And because he understands, destroys birth, the holy life has been lived. What needs to be done has been done. There's no more of this state of being, no more rebirth, right? And now the Buddha closes with this parable. It says, suppose, Tissa, there are 2 persons. One person who is familiar or skilled with the way, another not familiar with the way. The one who is unfamiliar with the way would ask the man familiar with the way. He will ask, come now, my good man. Ask him the way, okay? So the other person will say, okay, this is how you do it. You go this way, and then the parable is this. Let's go further down, please, 22, further down. Yeah, so here's the parable, all right? So this man who is familiar with the way tells the other man not familiar with the way, says, come now, my good man, this is the path. Go on a bit, Having gone a bit, you will see a fork in the road. Now avoid the left one, take the right one, take the right turn. Okay. Having gone a bit more, you will see a dense wood, a thick forest. Having gone a bit more, having gone a bit, you will see a vast, low-lying marsh, swamp. Go on a bit more, having gone a bit, you will see a steep cliff. Go on a bit more. Having gone a bit, you will see a pleasant stretch of level land. Okay, this is the pleasant place, right? So you can see, take the right turn, you see a dense forest, a huge swamp, a steep cliff, and then this pleasant level ground, right? So the Buddha says, Tissa, I've made up this parable to make a point. And the meaning here is this. The man unfamiliar with the way, amagga kusala. This Tissa is a term for the worldling, someone still not awakened, the worldling. The man familiar with the way, magga kusala. This is a term for the Tathagata, the worthy one, worthy self, fully awakened one, the Buddha, right? The fork in the path is doubt. But there are two things, you have to choose. So choose the right one. Okay? Further down now. Go down a bit more. Let's last page. The left path, Wama Magga, he said is a term for the wrong Eightfold Path. Right? So there are wrong Eightfold Path. Be careful because they'll teach you the wrong thing. Right? It's the wrong Eightfold Path, the wrong view, and so on. And then there's the right path. That is the Dakkhina Magga. This is the Noble Eightfold Path. And then there's the dense wood, thick forest, Hibbawana Sanda. This is ignorance, because you can get lost in this forest, very dangerous place. The vast, low-lying marsh, Mahanta Ninna Palala. This is a term for sensual pleasures, right? Why is it a marsh? You get stuck in it. You go in it, you get stuck in it. And dangerously, you can sink in it, right? Then there's a steep cliff, very hard to climb. Sobba papata, sobba papata. This Tissa is a term for anger and despair. And then finally, there's the pleasant stretch of level land. Sama bhumi bhaga ramaniya. The adjective is at the end, ramaniya, pleasant, ramaniya. This Tissa is a term for nirvana. Okay? So rejoice, Tissa, rejoice, Tissa. Here I am with advice. Here I am with support. Here I am with instruction. It is really beautiful. When you are suffering, remember this. The Buddha is telling you, here I am with advice. Here I am with support. Here I am with instruction. So the Buddha is teaching you how to get out of your suffering, not just give you a pat on the back, but to help you overcome your suffering. Isn't it beautiful? This is one of the rare places where the Buddha said this to his dear cousin, Tissa. The Blessed One said this, satisfied the elder Tissa rejoice in the Blessed One's word. So sadhu. So that's it.
Sadhu, thank you for the teaching, Piya. Now we have a Q&A. Sister Aisim, please take over. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Ratna. Thank you, Brother Piya, for the Sutta study. There's no question in the chat box at the moment. Any brother and sister would like to ask question verbally, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. Thank you.
Brother Piya,
Yes.
we need clarity on one point.
Yeah.
So there are these two things side by side, right? On one hand, Buddha says, for example, and with his example, that you should be the one first to talk to people, to greet others and stuff like that. And on other hand, we have this, you can say, recluseship or seclusion when you are alone, or like you were also mentioning in the beginning, that people come to see you instead of you actively going out to see other people or socializing like that.
Correct. Yes.
Now, what happens is sometimes when the mindfulness is getting stronger, or there is peace coming inside, so this happiness starts welling up, and it's almost like that happiness wants to go out and express itself. And all these impulses start coming in that, pick up the phone, call this person, call him, call her, or do. And then, like, I don't know, or you don't know that basically, how do I put it? Like, either how much is
Okay, yes, I get your question now. Yeah. Middle way, the middle way. Middle way means mindfulness. It's wonderful to have that energy. Okay. So the idea is energy should not be wasted, because if you overuse it, then you quickly waste it, and people also misunderstand us. So we got to be very, in a sense, shrewd, in a good sense, skillful. To be the first to greet others doesn't mean you go around saying hi to everyone. I mean, this may work in UK. When I was in UK, people are so friendly. Anyone in the street, they will say hello to you, but not here. In Singapore, they will look at you suspiciously when you smile at them. Even as much as smiling at them, there's something wrong with our society because of this, So you got to know the situation. You have to be gentle with people, and at the right time, people need help. People are there to be friends. Like you get together for in this senior gathering, you find people, they don't talk to each other. You got to start first. You got to smile, talk to them, and you find there are friendly people. That's how we start. We are a young nation in Singapore. I think we are 60 years old this year, very big celebration. But it's very young for a country. 60 years old is like, I don't know, a pre-teen, I think. So we have a few generations more to go. I mean, you go to Thailand, you find, wow, everyone's friendly and talking to you and welcoming you. The moment you say one Thai word, they say, oh, Keng Ma, so clever, huh? You go to the Philippines again, people are so friendly. These are the old society, very rich and very friendly. We are a new society. And people here have nothing but money in Singapore, So it can be rather sad if you have only money but no true happiness. But so we have to work for it. We can work for it, okay? And of course, there's so many good things in Singapore, right? So we have to celebrate this life by being friendly with people. That's what wealth cannot give us, but this is what we can give others. And this will make our nation truly great, right? So that's how you are the first to greet others. And there's a time to be silent, to be reserved. When people are talking, they want you to hear what they are saying. And sometimes you tell me, oh, no, I heard this story before, and it's told me this before, but never mind, just let them talk. And at the right time, there is a little break you can tell them, okay, yes, you've told me before, and I know it's important to you. So say it in a nice way, okay? All right, any other question?
I didn't get the skillful part, that how do you become more skillful in this, more shrewd or skillful, like how you're mentioning?
By knowing the time, knowing the time. Knowing the time not to do it, knowing the time to do it. That is the short answer. Knowing the time, yeah.
With trial and error, I suppose.
Thailand, they're very exuberant, they're very friendly, all right?
I was saying trial and error. It will come with trial and error.
I suppose so, yes. For young people, yeah, but don't be afraid to make mistakes. And more importantly, don't be afraid to learn. See, sometimes when you're too exuberant, people may misunderstand. In certain places, they may accept it, but it's not that simple, because sometimes people may feel you want to outdo them, for example, they may think you're trying to be better than them. And then again, you have another problem, right? So you have to just know what to say just enough, and see how people respond. Very important to read people, to look at them in the eye, look at them in the face, something like that, yeah. And sometimes just by being present calmly, people know you are approachable because you are peaceful.
Right. So I have tried this here as an experiment, you could say. The place I'm staying in, this is a PG and lots of young people are there. So I've actually tried this, like, just randomly smiling at people or talking to them. Let's say 80% of the times it's kind of, it works. 20%, okay, they'll maybe, take it the right way.
Okay. That's good. Yeah. Young people are a bit more difficult because they change. Right? They
Yes.
can change. Yeah. So, but don't worry. Time is a very good teacher. Right. So as we age, you find when you're mindful, you look back, you know better what to do, what not to do. All right.
The confusion I get is in this, I guess, a little bit, that when to be really active and reaching out, and when, like you say that, just let others come in. Why do you bother? Just go on doing your own work, kind of a thing.
Well, just feel free to do what you want to do, and then go home, sit quietly, and then reflect on it. What did I do right today? What did I do wrong today? Okay, that's one way. You're your own best teacher because you are always there watching. Okay, any other questions?
Yes, Brother Piya,
Yes?
question from Brother LCO.
Yes, okay.
Uh,
It's got a
Mindfulness
baby
and
now.
mindfulness and consciousness
Yes.
seem to be the same. To be
No,
mindful
no,
of this
no.
and
They overlap. They overlap each other, but they're different. Consciousness is in the background. For example, you can see me, you have eye consciousness. So it is something passive, right? Whereas mindfulness, you got to, we say train your eye. In other words, you got to direct your eye to the object. Then only you are mindful. All right. Otherwise, you won't be mindful. So they're quite different things in that sense. Okay, any other question? It is, my clock says 9:30, but if you have urgent
Just
questions,
want to
please.
say one more thing, Brother Piya.
Yes, yes.
You just said that we are always watching ourselves, right? So, in fact, when the Sutta class was going on now, this image came to my mind that it would be so easier if we could see ourselves like, like a character in a movie, or like we see other bodies doing things. If we could see our own, it would be so easy to see that, okay, this is where I'm going, right? This is where I'm going, stupid.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good way. Yeah. In fact, that's what stories are about. Stories are not about tigers and lions and all those Jataka stories. They're about us. We could be any of those characters. You see?
How do we do it with our own selves? Because we cannot
Mm.
see ourselves in action like that, right? Like how we see the third person. So how do we do it then?
I didn't get your question there.
I'm saying, but like I guess I get what you're saying, but then we cannot see ourselves as a third person, right? We are not able to see ourselves as a character doing
Well,
such.
you do what you can. What you can't see,
Yes.
you just leave it aside for the time being. When you examine yourself, it means you look at what has happened. And then from there, you tell yourself, what is it good? Is it bad? How can I correct it? Okay. All right. Any other people, last minute question before we close? Because it's already time's up.
I have a simple question.
Yes. Where are you?
This is with reference to the parable,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just intrigued by the Buddha's choice of simile. Using steep cliff to represent anger and despair.
Yes.
Could you explain perhaps
Oh,
what was
okay.
the logic
No,
behind?
this is up to the teacher and the storyteller's acumen, Yeah, it's amazing the way the Buddha chooses his metaphors. How is anger, what's the other word?
Despair.
Anger and despair.
How is anger and despair like a cliff?
A steep cliff.
Yeah. Sorry?
A steep. It's not just a cliff, but a very steep cliff.
All cliffs are steep. Yeah. But here we put, following the Sutta, the Pali, we want to be sure that people imagine this cliff as going straight up. There are no gradual cliffs, right? So I imagine, when I read this parable, I said, wow, it's like this angry man. He's falling off the cliff, you see. In despair, he's going to fall off the cliff. I mean, people feel despair if that's going to happen, you see. So these heights can be very fearful, for example. And once you fall, you can't get back. So if you are angry with someone, you say those angry words, you hurt people, it's very hard to take it back. So there are different kind of ideas you can associate. Okay, so this picture of a cliff, and it's very hard to climb. So if you have anger and despair, so many things you can't do. This place becomes like a cliff to you. How are you going to climb it? It's impossible, right? So you got to learn to let go of this anger. You have to be at peace with yourself. Then the cliffs disappear, something like that, right? So metaphors allow us to use our imagination a bit, allow us to picture it. And maybe we have experienced it. We say, yes, I can see this picture. I can see this figure, all right? So in a sense, when we go through it, yeah, then we begin to connect with this metaphor more closely. I mean, that's what I think at the moment, why the clip is used, okay? I mean, if you have an idea to share, yeah, go ahead. Okay, people finish or anything else? Last minute?
Thank you.
Okay, it's good to see you are very happy with this study. To let us now come to this wonderful moment to reflect on this gathering one more time. In this beautiful moment, please use all this wonderful energy inside you, feel it and send it to yourself, telling yourself, may I be well, may I be happy, may I be positive, may I be mindful, whatever good thing, just remember that. Then send this wonderful energy to people you care for, those near you. Don't forget those at home, your friends, relatives, people you meet, people here. Send it to your teachers also. May they be well and happy. And we close by showing our respect to the three jewels, as always. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Sanghang Namami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.